And what's up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Will Johnson. Please do me a favor. If you're watching this on Facebook, type in exclamation point notify. Just like you see it right there. Type it in just like that, all one word, all together. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up and hit that share button as well. Thumbs up on YouTube and hit the share button on YouTube. And the same thing on Rumble. And same thing on Getter. And same thing on Frank Speech. And if you're listening on the audio podcast, please subscribe to the audio podcast if you haven't, and share the audio podcast. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Okay, so we have some interesting things to talk about, most definitely, and I want to share all of it with you in the time that we have. It's really interesting, the time that we have here. Okay. The first one I want to share with you is that, the left, they're constantly talking about anyone who's supporting President Trump, and they have this new thing, right? And it's not necessarily new, but they've kind of started saying it even more so in the past 6 months, maybe a year, calling Trump supporters a cult, all right? They're saying that if you support Trump, that you're in a cult. Well, how is that the case? Because, cult members have this demonic way about themselves, and they want to, force everyone to believe a certain thing. They want everyone to go along with the status quo. And most Trump supporters don't do that. Pretty much all Trump supporters don't do that. And there's probably a few out there that's, way out there. Of course, it's like because we're talking about people. But they're literally calling Trump supporters a cult when the cult actions are all done by the left. They're the ones drinking the Kool-Aid. The left, they're the ones drinking the Kool-Aid, if y'all know what I mean. But then they turn around and say that we're the cult members. How does that work? Let me show you this real quick. Can we split screen this? This is just an example. And this was with them trying to say that we are a cult member, right? Look at this. Split screen it for me. Right here. Because Trump supporters show up with American flags and Trump flags peacefully, but we're the cult, right? Most cult, and you know what was really interesting to me is that I once upon a time had a aunt, and she actually got caught up in the cult. And this was maybe 25 years ago, probably even longer than that. But she actually got caught up in a cult, and she disappeared. And apparently she tried to get away from the cult. And then next thing you know, they found her. She actually got away from the cult. The cult was in Texas. It was living in Arkansas. Her family was in Arkansas. She got away from the cult. She fled to Arkansas, back to her family. Well, that cult found her in Arkansas. And the next thing you know, my aunt was in the river. They pulled her fingernails. They did all this horrible stuff to her. It was so bad they had to do a closed casket. I'll never forget it. That's what a cult is. And so let me ask you, as soon as they find out that you don't want to be a part of them any longer, how do they react? How do they react? See, Trump supporters were like, okay, you're just confused. Go do your thing. But those on the left, if you don't want to comply with their evil agenda, they will try to make sure you get you fired. They'll try to make it where you lose your income. They'll do everything they can to you. The same thing a cult will do. But then they call Trump supporters cults. How does that work? How does that happen? Because there's many Trump supporters. Here's the vehicles lined up, probably going to a Trump rally here, right? But then they show sometimes they have these boat events where a whole bunch of Trump supporters go out on the river. They can't stand it. They hate to see it. They don't understand why, after everything that they've been doing to President Trump, why in the world would you still support him? Why would you still support him? Well, I'm going to tell you why we still support President Trump. Because President Trump speaks the truth. They don't like the fact that President Trump is speaking the truth. Just like right now, they have all of these indictments against President Trump. Go to me just for 1 second. Just come to me by myself real quick. Let me say this about President Trump. Because I was talking to my producer about this. And, right now they're trying to go and get President Trump and not allow him to speak. They're going after his First Amendment rights. And it dawned on me, well, at least it did for me. Many of you probably already got it. Said, well, you're behind the times. We already knew all this. But listen, let me tell you this. The reason why they want to hinder President Trump from having his First Amendment rights, from him having free speech, the reason why they're wanting to do this is because you, even those that don't like Trump, they know that President Trump is going to speak the truth. And they don't want to have anybody hear what President Trump has to say. You have the mainstream government state media preventing anything from President Trump, what he's being said. Like what I'm getting ready to share with you here, the Communist News Network, MSSTD, ABC, CBS, the entire Alphabet Network soup group, none of them will show you what I'm about to show you. And it's because President Trump is telling the truth. And it dawned on me, well, President Trump's telling the truth. They don't want you to hear what President Trump has to say. Why? Because you'll believe him. You will believe him. Because President Trump, he's not going to get away. He's not going to win anything. He's not going to benefit by lying to the American people. President Trump, the position that they have put him in, it would do more damage to him by lying to the American people. And they know this. That's the very reason why right now, this judge in D.C. is trying to put a gag order on President Trump, telling President Trump that you cannot go out and talk about anything on this case. Think about that. We're going into the season, an election season, and they want President Trump to be silent. And that's not going to happen because they're literally violating his constitutional rights. And then when they say, well, it's not the government. It is the government. The government has this case going against President Trump, and the government is trying to silence President Trump. Again, with the whole censorship, with the whole federal government intervening, trying to shut down free speech. Let me play this one for you because President Trump is talking about how corrupt Joe Biden is. He's incompetent and he's completely corrupt. And also, I'm going to share something else with you. We have an article. I don't know if it's on a website as of yet, but more information about the federal government and when it comes to Joe Biden blocking you, the American people, from using your voice, your God-given freedoms. Listen to this.
Joe Biden is the most incompetent and corrupt president in U.S. history. The Biden crime family was taking in money from China, Ukraine, Russia, all these places he has to deal with, and so many others. And now whenever more Biden corruption is exposed, his henchmen charge me with a crime. You know,
you hear this. You hear this. Every single time they get more corruption, more evidence on Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, the Biden crime family, they go after President Trump. You know what it is? This is what the left is saying. Whoa. Oh, okay. This is what's happening. If you're going to come after Joe Biden, our guy, well, guess what? We're going to go after your guy. And we don't care that the stuff that you're coming after our guy, Joe Biden, is 100% accurate and true with his criminal activity. We're going to make stuff up and go after your guy, President Trump. That's exactly what's happening here.
When they get something on Biden, let's indict. Let's add on another indictment to that stupid indictment that we filed. Let's add on another one because that takes the news cycle. Unfortunately, I get disproportionate publicity. So they indict me. He's right. Great balls. But so they indict. So when they want to keep something, they say, oh, man, they got Hunter again. You know, at some point, Joe is going to have to say, you know, the sun thing just isn't working out. Do you agree? The sun thing. The sun thing's not working out too good. All he had to do is pick up the laptop. Didn't the guy call him like 11? Pick up your laptop. Pick up your laptop. I wonder where that cocaine came from. What happened? That was the quickest investigation I've ever seen. You know, somebody told me it could be wrong. I always say that way you can never get sued, you know. Somebody told me it could be wrong. I'm sure it's wrong. But in that little cubicle where it was, there would be normally thousands of fingerprints. You know, people meet her. There were none. It was clean. It was so clean. It's the kind of place I'd like to be, actually, clean. I like cleanliness.
You know what? When he said that, Shannon, I thought about you. I'm gonna share a tidbit of information about Shannon that she probably don't want me to share. It's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. Shannon she's really cleany. She's like a clean freak. I mean, she likes everything immaculate. I mean, it's just, if it's dirty, she'll get it. She'll get it because she like cleanliness. Just like when President Trump said this, I thought about Shannon because she likes cleanliness as well. I'm a little messy. Like my desk here, I got, a little couple of things. Not a lot. I'm a little messy, but she's like very clean, very neat. Everything has to be in order. I just had to share that. Okay, continue.
Yeah. But it's called a cover-up. Every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, fascists indict me, I consider it a great, great, great badge of honor. I do.
You hear that? They indict President Trump, and he says, I consider it a great badge of honor. There's another part that I don't have for you, where President Trump says, I just need one more indictment. Just one more. Because one more indictment is like it's going to confirm. It already has, actually. He's just kind of saying it. Because they're probably going to end up doing it anyways. Soon as, I think it's next week or this week or next week.
This week. They're going to release more bank.
This week, they're going to release more information about the Biden crime family. And you can guarantee if they continue doing the same pattern that they've been doing, you can guarantee that the very next day, there's going to be another indictment.
Well, haven't we already reported? I think it was on here. We reported it last week where they're already shutting down streets and the courthouse in Atlanta pending this new indictment coming. They're saying it'll come in anytime.
So they're just waiting for the Republicans to release the dirt on the Joe Biden crime family,
it's like
and then they're going to do it.
Span that we're in it now. We just hit it yesterday.
So they're just gearing up for it.
Within the next 10 days.
They're talking about criminal activity.
You know what I'm saying?
Talking about criminal.
And this is something that they've known about for a couple years. So once again, they're doing this all purposely and intentfully as election interference because they're scared of Trump. And like Trump said, it totally makes sense. One more indictment and he won the election.
So the question is like, why?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they do this? And President Trump brought this up before. Why wouldn't they do this 2 years ago? Why not do this 2 years ago? They waited until now because they're trying to silence him. That's the reason why they're doing it now.
Because I'm being indicted for you. I am being indicted for you. Thanks a lot. But never forget, our enemies want to stop us because we are the only ones who are going to stop them. It takes brave people to stop these radical lunatics. It takes brave people. They're sick people. They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. That's what's happening here. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you.
Listen to this. You hear this? He says they're trying to silence him because he won't let them silence us. And that's the whole thing. I mean, look at it. Look what's happening on big tech companies. If you say certain things on big tech companies, they will come after you. They'll silence you. Right? So again, like the cult thing, like, in the 1930s, 1940s, Germany, when you put out flyers during that time, because they didn't have the internet, if you put out flyers saying something against the government, state media, or the government, any of the politicians during that time, what would happen to you? They would get you and silence you. They're doing the exact same thing to President Trump. In return, they're actually wanting to do it to the American people, and they've already been doing it.
And in the end, they're not after me. They're after you. I'm just standing in their way, and I always will stand in their way, I promise.
And that's what they don't like. They do not want President Trump there. They're trying to remove him out the way. And you know what? Another thing. This last one, and I think there was one other one, but they've actually put in there that they want to Espionage Act. They're putting the Espionage Act against President Trump. Y'all know what that is? I don't claim to know everything about it, but I do know if they get him on the Espionage Act, that means they can give him the death penalty. See, I personally don't think that they've just, blatantly just tried to take President Trump out, kind of like, like they did Kennedy and Martin Luther King and a few other people. I think they're like, okay, well, we can't do that because there's too many people supporting him. Even though there was people supporting him then, they don't trust that Trump supporters will sit down idly if they do this. I think that's the reason why they haven't done it. But if they can get him on fraudulent charges and they do the Espionage Act against President Trump, they can say, well, it was the law. He was found guilty. He was found guilty. And then at that point, they'd be like, well, who do you blame, right? Who do you blame? Because they know Trump supporters adhere to the law. They know Trump supporters don't want to do criminal activity. They know this. They know this. So that's the reason why they're trying to do this in the legal system. But the legal system has become completely corrupt. A great example. Look at this retired police officer. Y'all know who this retired police officer is? Y'all seen him before? Listen to what he says, because he's terrified of President Trump returning too. And why do you think he's so terrified of President Trump returning? Why do you think so? Listen.
There's people that say that Donald Trump has a very good chance of becoming president of the United States. I can't even fathom what another term with Trump at the helm would look like. I can't fathom what it would look like for this country, other than it wouldn't be good. And I can't imagine what it would look like for me as, a police officer that served at the Capitol on January 6th.
A police officer that blatantly lied, and he's still lying. This dude is a total snake. He's a total rat, and he knows better. But apparently he is part of the deep state. He is part of what Nancy Pelosi and all of them. They probably made some sweetheart deals for this dude to blatantly lie. He is afraid that all of these people that did all of this corruption, all this criminal activity, they're going after innocent Americans. They are afraid that these actual criminals are going to get it when President Trump returns. Should they be afraid?
Try to protect, my fellow officers and the people inside of the building, spoke out about it. And,
what do you think when you see these big rallies and these people show up and they want to hear from him, they want to support him? These polls that show he's way out in front of the other Republicans running for the nomination.
Wait a minute, hold on now. See, he kind of hesitated. He's ahead of all the Republicans, and he's ahead of Joe Biden. He's ahead of everybody. Even people thinking about getting in, like gruesome Gavin Newsom. Everybody. He's leading the polls. There's only one reason why they're doing all these indictments, because President Trump is leading in the polls, and they're terrified of him returning. They're terrified of it. They're like, how do we deal with this? I know. Lock him up. Put him in jail. Prevent him from running. Silence him. Anything. Everything. How did Chuck Schumer say it? Nothing is off the table.
Nomination.
I mean,
what goes through your mind?
It's infuriating. It's hard not to take it personally. I mean, I see all these Americans, and let's be realistic here. These are people that, 2.5, 3 years ago, I probably would have been, sitting at a bar drinking a beer with, and now they are throwing the beer in your face. Throwing the beer in your face because you are a traitor. You are a liar. You are the police officers because I was one of the first ones, if I was not the first one, to talk about woke cops. Yes, I was saying, you know what? And I asked that question because no one was saying it. And I said, do you think it's possible for there to be woke cops? And some people were like, no, absolutely not. Not when you have the entire left talk about defunding police officers, but he's on the Communist News Network. Total sellout, a woke cop. Not when you have the left attacking police officers and when they're just sitting in their vehicles. Antifa, Trantifa, BLM will attack police officers just sitting in their vehicle. Killing them. But here's a woke cop on their Communist News Network straight up lying. All in, and wish some of the most disturbing things to, happen to me and my family members simply because of the fact that I told the truth about what happened.
You know what? Get him off the screen. He didn't tell the truth. Dude straight up lied. And he's still lying. That's the only reason why he's on the Communist News Network, right? The criminal news network, because they do nothing but lie. Which brings me to another point. Did you know lying is free speech? Can we put the comments on the screen? How many of y'all think that lying is not free speech? And y'all can say, Will, it's not. Say it. Say it, Will. If you truly believe that lying is not free speech, say it. Because lying is free speech, regardless if I like it or not. Right? Because I can go and tell you, and I use this analogy all the time, I can go out and tell you right now there's a UFO. No, let me put it this way. Right now there's a UFO over everybody's house that's watching. How am I going to know that? I'm lying, right? And you know, it's like, whatever, Will. But is that free speech? Yes or no? It is 100% free speech. They're trying to say that President Trump was lying, knowing good and well that he wasn't lying, but they're trying to say that he was lying, and that is not free speech. That is breaking the law. So, but you notice they're not going after pencil neck Adam Schiff. After President Trump made the phone call to Ukraine asking information about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, the $1 billion, they wanted to impeach him over that. They actually did in the House because he was asking questions. So apparently if you ask questions, it's against the law, especially if you ask questions to get people to start thinking about the corruption and the criminal activity of these politicians and Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. So is lying free speech? Yes or no? Right? And I can see a lot of people saying, no, it's free speech. I mean, it's free speech. We can dislike it, but it is free speech. 100% free speech. All right. Which brings me to this next one. President Trump said he's not going to let go of his First Amendment rights. Oh, wait a minute. Put it back. Someone just sent us a blessing. Who is that? Can you tell who that is, Shannon? Mandatory carry.
Yeah, mandatory carry.
Man, you are awesome. Thank you so much for that blessing. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go to this one with President Trump about free speech. Okay. He says he's at work, and he's always at work. You're watching me while you're at work, man. I feel honored. Okay, listen to what President Trump says here, because again, in this case, the last one, they're trying to shut President Trump down during the election season. You can't go on campaigns if they silence you. Can you?
Never happened in the USA. This has never happened where an attorney general is told to take the Justice Department and the FBI and sue somebody, think of it, who's running for president and leading not only the Republicans by 50 points, but leading the Democrat by a lot.
See, and that's the part that I was just talking about on the Communist News Network clip that I did commentary on. They didn't want to bring that up. They know that President Trump is leading. He's winning. It's like if the elections were today, who would win? If they were held today, who would win?
So he says, sue him, and that will bring him down. But they sued, and I have a guy, they call him Deranged Jack Smith. He's deranged. And you know, Biden, on the boxes stuff, Biden has almost 2,000 boxes. Some were held in Chinatown, not a good place for him. And you don't ever hear anything about him. And I came under a thing called the Presidential Records Act. Won't go into it, but it's beautiful. But we have this deranged lunatic looking at us, and he's got a very nice man, a very gentle man. Our guy leaks. He does things that are just terrible. And because of that, we're leading by a lot. Because, frankly, I think it's had a huge impact because it shows how sick and how evil these people are, in addition to not knowing anything about the border, about the economy, about the military, or about dealing with other nations. So this is all about election interference. But that isn't quite good enough. Crooked Joe now wants the thug prosecutor, this deranged guy, to file a court order taking away my First Amendment rights so that I can't speak. So listen to this. We don't want you to speak about the case. The case is a ridiculous case. It's a First Amendment case. But we don't want Trump to speak. So they take away your rights on First Amendment. Now they sue because so now I have one of these lunatic reporters back there saying, sir would like to talk to you about your case. Or I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to talk about it. Somehow that's not good for votes. Do you agree? When we say I can't talk, I'd love to. I will talk about it. I will. They're not taking away my First Amendment right.
You hear that? He said, I will talk about it. They are not taking away my First Amendment rights. Which brings me to this article that I want to share with you. This is an article that just came out today. I guess it's like breaking news from the Epic Times. Look at this article today. Go ahead, flip it over. Look at this.
Yeah, this happened yesterday, but it says the Weaponization Committee members joined censorship lawsuit against Biden administration. It said congressional Republicans have joined a lawsuit against the Biden administration's censorship by proxy scheme that involved pressuring social media companies to crack down on free speech.
You know what? I like the fact that they put that in the proxy scheme.
Right.
If everyone has been watching my videos for, the past year and a half, and I've been talking about proxies, especially when the war in Ukraine started, because the United States of America is at war with Russia via the proxy of Ukraine. And I've talked about this so much. The federal government censored the American people, violated the U.S. Constitution via the proxy of the big tech companies.
The filing came as part of a flurry of legal activity in Missouri's censorship by proxy lawsuit against President Joe Biden and several federal agencies, which involved a handful of other amicus brief filings on August 7th. Now, listen to this. This is the breaking news part. It says Jim Jordan, who chairs the Weaponization Subcommittee, said in a statement obtained by Epic Times that the panel's investigation into the federal government censorship by proxy scheme has uncovered smoking gun documents showing how big tech and big government work together to stifle free speech.
I mean, that's just crazy to me, right? Yeah. We've been talking about this, and I've been talking about this. We've all been experiencing this, right? There's different things that they've been hurting people on big tech companies by not allowing you to have free speech. There's even been cases where people would take scripture from the Holy Bible, where people have taken scripture from the Holy Bible and they've actually censored them, suspended their accounts, and even called the information in the Bible misleading or even disinformation. You hear me? This is what, and you know what? It appears to be that type of censorship that we've been experiencing has been a direct order from the federal government. Listen to this. 100%.
We know through Facebook files that Biden administration directed big tech companies to censor speech the government disagreed with and launched a pressure campaign when companies did not comply with the censorship orders quickly enough. In an earlier thread on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, announcing the release of what Jim Jordan dubbed the Facebook files. He goes on to say, never before released internal documents subpoenaed by the Judiciary Committee prove that Facebook and Instagram censored posts and changed their content moderation policies because of unconstitutional pressure from the Biden White House. This is huge. They said they got the goods.
Yep. They got the goods. They got it. They got the goods on all of this. And I mean, think about it. They're getting into this case. They're getting into it with, the weaponization committee. They're getting into it because, look, the evidence is going to start presenting itself. It's going to come out. What do you think this should do to the big tech companies that actually went along with the federal government to hinder your free speech? Now, I can understand if you were, you were calling for violence against somebody, you probably shouldn't be doing that. Probably shouldn't be doing that. I'd never do it. I never call for violence for anybody. Some people may deserve it, but I'm not going to call for it. But that's just who I am, right? But when you're not calling for violence and you're not, saying, and you can say hateful stuff, because hateful stuff, just like lying, is considered free speech. You can say hateful stuff. People say hateful stuff about Will Johnson all the time, but that's free speech. What am I going to do? Cry? Oh my goodness, they said something hateful about me. Wah. No one cares. No one cares. That's why y'all don't ever really hear me ever talking about, well, so-and-so says something about me, so-and-so, this person, I thought about sometime taking snapshots. I always ask my mods, and I ask Shannon, I always ask like Lori and the other mods that I have, I would say, get screenshots of them being really nasty, right? And I'm like collecting all of them so that people can see all the nasty stuff and the hateful stuff that I'm saying. I guess I'm kind of weird. Yeah, she said I'm weird.
You are weird. Yeah, Lori actually sent one today.
Oh, did she?
She emailed one to us, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm always saying, because I know if I'm doing what God put me here on earth to do, the demons, they are going to attack. It's like confirmation, not that I need it, but it's like confirmation that I'm doing the right thing. Because y'all don't ever hear me curse, right? Y'all don't hear me cursing.
And most people would stress out, but not you. You love it. In fact,
it's not that I love it.
Yeah, he likes it. Before, you would want to talk to the people, but then they would do other things. And now, I'm like, just get rid of them. Just get rid of them.
Vamp, you got
Lord
to go.
Used to be nice too a little bit, but now I'm like, nah, just get rid of them.
Yeah, because they're not good for anything.
And
okay,
you're not going to change their mind, especially people that leave messages like some of the messages we get.
Oh my goodness,
right? Like
some
you're not, no
colorful.
matter what you say, you're not going to change their mind.
Oh my goodness, people! Some of them are extremely colorful. Extremely colorful.
And really, you're right. You recognize it as an opportunity to change somebody's mind,
right?
But
they
have to be open to it.
But they're not. But I know that they're not. So a lot of times I had the conversation with them, and then I end up screenshotting the whole conversation because they can be really nasty. And you can see I'm not saying anything mean, but that's who they are.
And he'll come up to me and show it to me, and he'll be like, "Look what they said."
Because they are in a
funny.
cult. Because they are in a cult, they're gonna say hateful things like that. But let me show you something else. And listen to this, because right off the bat, they're saying that President Trump is coming for us. Right? Who do you think President Trump is going for? I'm gonna tell you, President Trump is going after the deep state. So why would they be upset about President Trump going after the deep state unless they are part of the deep state themselves?
The president's post saying, if you go after me, I'm coming after you is.
If you come after me, I'm going after you. Right there. That's exactly it. President Trump said, if you come after me, I'm going after you. And they went after President Trump first because the first 4 years President Trump was in office, he didn't go after these people. Not like this. Oh my goodness. And he only made a phone call inquiring about the $1 billion Joe Biden did to Ukraine, telling them they need to fire somebody or you won't get the $1 billion. What is that? That's a prerequisite. You got to fire. You got to do something for me in order to get the $1 billion when it's just aid, right? Supposedly. But he said, if you come after me, I'm going after you. They went after President Trump first. And now the deep state, they're shaking in their panties.
The president's post saying, if you go after me, I'm coming after you is just political speech, has nothing to do with the case. I mean, do you buy that?
No, I mean, it's garbage, obviously. Look, Donald Trump is really good, and he's practiced this over decades of like saying something, but in a way that you could somehow conceivably, at least with a straight face, argue that you mean something else. You see that like through his whole life, through his whole career. Of course.
What else could he possibly mean?
I mean,
the deep state is literally going after him.
What is he even talking about? He's been a businessman
yes.
outside of the political realm for more.
But the deep state is going after him. What could he possibly mean? Indictment after indictment after indictment after indictment? Really? Really?
But see, you know what? It's interesting because if the Democrats say something like Schumer, He told the judges on the steps, right, that we're coming for you.
Yep.
Right?
He sure did.
But that's not what he meant.
And what he said, Kavanaugh, you're gonna feel the whirlwind. Really? Yep. And then there's another one. Chuck Schumer said, if you do something, the intelligence community will come after you. Yep. 7 ways past Sunday or something like that.
Yeah, if you go against the Department of Justice. Literally, he said they're coming after you. He was talking about Trump.
They put threat after threat after threat, and now they're actually going after President Trump. So when he says, look, you coming after me, I'm going to go after you, the deep state is terrified. That's the reason why they're trying to get President Trump on the Espionage Act so they can end him permanently.
He was sitting around angry, tweeted that out. He's mad. He's done other things to threaten, boy, it's not me, but this could turn really violent if you do this, and this is going to destroy our country. And not to mention all the other fake tweets he's put out where he's talked about, like, America is going to hell. Nancy Pelosi is going to hell.
Seriously, Nancy Pelosi, in my personal opinion, she's a spawn from hell. She really is. Kamala Harris, Joe Biden. And the reason why I said it, because these demonic spirits have occupied these people. And they like these demonic spirits in them. Get them off the screen. Get them off the screen. This is what they're terrified. Look, this is what they're terrified. Listen to what President Trump says here, because he's straight up saying he's going to get them. But he's calling out the deep state. And when he says the deep state, they get their panties in a knot. Listen.
And from my first day in office, I will appoint a special prosecutor to study each and every one of the many claims being brought forth by Congress, and they're doing a good job. Jamie Comer, Jim Jordan, all of them, concerning all of the crooked acts, including bribes from China and many other countries, all these foreign countries sending money into the coffers of the Biden crime family. We will have a special prosecutor, and now they'll come after me even a little harder, but I don't know how many more. How much harder can they do it?
You hear this? You hear this? They're coming after him because they want to silence him. Never before in the history of our nation have we ever experienced this. Never. We're seeing history in the making, and the Democrats are doing it. They're the ones doing this because they are fearful of this man. He's just a man, and they're fearful. And again, they want to silence him because people listen to President Trump. He has no reason to lie to us. There's no benefit in it. There's no benefit in it. By lying, there's not going to get anything. Let me give you another example real quick. Sometimes when a guy meets a girl and then they've been dating for a little while and the guy wants to do something else and he want to hang out with the boys or something, but the girl wants to like, oh, I got these plans, and he lies to her. Right? He don't want to let her go or anything, but he lies to her because he want to do something with the boys instead of him just telling her the boys. But see, in President Trump's case, he's telling the girl, look, I'm going to go hang out with the boys for today. Go hang out with your girlfriends. You understand what I'm saying? See, President Trump is saying, look, I'm going to go hang out with him because he wants to. The girl in President Trump's case is America. And he's saying, I'm going to just tell you, I'm going to go hang out with the boys. I'm going to hang out with the boys because he doesn't want to lose you. He's being truthful. There's no benefit in lying. You understand? There's none. President Trump cannot benefit from lying. So all he has is the truth. And they know this because look at the extreme that they're going through to silence him. If President Trump was constantly lying and they could just show where he was lying XYZ, they wouldn't even be worried about President Trump. There wouldn't be any indictments. If you and I were not believing President Trump, there would not be a single indictment right now. They wouldn't even care. They'd be like, okay, just go away. You're not a big deal. But they can't do that.
I should have 4 by sometime next week. I never heard, I went to the Wharton School of Finance. We never studied indictment. We never studied arrest. We never studied prison. These are sick people we're dealing with. It's often said that Republicans don't fight hard enough. And I happen to agree. But they never said that about Trump. And you have some Republicans that are fighting very hard now.
You know what? And I've been saying this quite often, too. There's a lot of Republicans that's not fighting hard like they should be. I can't stand weak in the knee, no backbone, spineless Republicans. I can't stand them to no end. Right. And I like the fact that they're looking into stuff, but we need action. Y'all need to go into action. See, the Democrats, they are at war with the American people. It's just these weak-kneed Republicans hadn't figured it out yet. Some of them not even on board with even the impeachment inquiry to find out information. Imagine that. We need to put those Republicans' names on Front Street. They need to be right there so everyone can see. What do you mean you don't even want to look into the information with all this other information and you still want to ignore it? Oh, we need to get along with the Democrats. We need to get along across the aisle. We need to make everything better. It sounds like Mitch McConnell.
I have to tell you, but you're going to see that on my first day in the presidency. The deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables will turn very quickly, right, and we will destroy the deep state.
Right there. Right there. We will destroy the deep state. And that's why they're all scared. And you know, at one point, they used to deny the deep state. Did y'all know that? At one point, the left used to deny the deep state. There's no such thing as the deep state. Now they know that we know it's them. Now they know. So now they're like, oh, the deep state, because see, President Trump doesn't have to call out all of these fake news organizations. He doesn't have to call out the deep state news organization. He don't have to call out any politicians. All he has to say is deep state, and they all know he's talking about them. Imagine that. How does that work? Every last one of them. He says deep state, deep state, deep state. He says deep state, and they all go like, oh my goodness, he's coming for us. Remember James Comey? He was on with Jen Psaki just like a couple of weeks ago, maybe last month or so, and he said, if we don't get President Trump, he's going to get us. He literally said it on the show. I'm like, man, this dude's like been coming right out with it. He said, look, President Trump, when he returns, he's going to get all of us. He's going to get the deep state. He didn't say deep state, but he's saying, if we don't get President Trump now, if we don't shut him down, we don't put him in jail, we don't remove him from society, he's going to get us. He straight up said it with Jen Psaki, and they all know it. That's the reason why they're doing all this fraudulent stuff against this man. He's just the man. Wow. And if they're doing this to President Trump, you can guarantee the rest of us, we are in trouble. Let me share this with you. This is Dana Bash on the Communist News Network, where she doesn't even know what free speech is. How do you be in this position? You don't even know what free speech is, right? Because she doesn't understand that President Trump has free speech. Oh my goodness, no, President Trump can't have free speech because he says something and someone may have acted on it. That's beside the point. You can't control people's actions. You can say whatever you want in a free society. Listen to this, because she's a total idiot.
Not only is President Trump being attacked for his First Amendment rights, now these prosecutors are trying to impinge on the freedom of the press.
Okay, let's stick to, I appreciate you trying to stick up for us.
What's happening? I'm telling you.
I appreciate you trying to stick up for us, but let's talk about the actual
I'm telling you what's going on right now.
You hear this? Thank you for sticking up for us. Is she butting in because she doesn't want to have him say what he's saying, which again is the truth. The only time they disrupt or anytime they interrupt someone they have on there is because that person is actually telling the truth. When they lie, they're silent all day long. But again, lying is considered free speech. You can lie all day on the Communist News Network. That's what they're mainly known as, the fake news, because they lie constantly. Listen to this next one. Leave it here. Listen to this next one with Karine Jean-Pierre, where she actually says that President Trump was using federal resources to go after his political opponent. Now, what she's referring to is that President Trump called Ukraine inquiring information about what we all know to be true, Joe Biden's criminal activities in Ukraine. That's all he did. He called to find out information. And during that time, the federal government, the FBI, the DOJ, they all hid this information from the public. Many of us knew about it, but for the most part, they hid all this information because they did not want people to know.
This is who Donald Trump is. He did it as a businessman. He did it as a candidate. And now he's doing it as a president. And the thing about now is that he's using government resources to go after his political opponent. Like, that's the thing that we have to remember.
Really? You see that? You see that? Do you see that? President Trump didn't go after his political opponents. He was inquiring information because, look, if someone actually did espionage, actual espionage, right? If someone actually did some quid pro quo, if someone actually did some criminal activities, did these sour deals with other nations, shouldn't the DOJ be looking into that? Shouldn't the Homeland Security be looking into that? Because if that's the case, then somebody could be compromised. They spent 4 years going after President Trump, trying to tell everybody that President Trump was guilty because he was colluding with Russia. Remember that? Well, here it is. Joe Biden actually did criminal fraudulent activity with a foreign country, but they're all looking the other way. President Trump wasn't trying to find the dirt, and now all of it's coming out. All of it was true. Now listen to this. President Trump, once again, about the deep state. President Trump brings the deep state down. He's going to bring it down. And that's why they're all upset. This is why, another reason why they're trying to remove him. Listen.
See, the deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn, and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried.
You hear that? You hear that? And you know, you understand the expression, right? And people go, oh my goodness, President Trump said there was bodies buried somewhere. And you know, the left, they could take that and be like, oh my goodness, he said there was bodies buried. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? He knows where the bodies are. You think he possibly talking about the bodies were, you know, surrounding Hillary Rodham Clinton? I'm just asking the question. I'm just asking the question. Could it possibly be those bodies might have something there? Could it be? Could it be? But they don't care. See, Joe Biden is so corrupt. They know Joe Biden's corrupt. And they're okay with Joe Biden being corrupt because they are corrupt themselves. Listen to this one, President Trump talking about the corruption with Joe Biden. And the Democrats don't care. They hate Trump more. Joe Biden could have done so much criminal activity and it's all could come out. And guess what's going to happen? The Democrats are going to look the other way because they hate Trump more.
How about all these things with the 30 corporations and the this and the that, the money flowing in, everybody getting money coming in from China? How can you be tough in China when they're paying you a lot of money? And see, they know too much. You know, we have a compromise. We have a Manchurian candidate. They know too much. So he can't be tough in China. That's why he allows blimps flying over the country, right over our nuclear sites. Let them come in. Let them take pictures. Oh, don't do anything about it. They'll tell everybody who's giving me all that money. He's a compromised candidate. And I'll tell you something. Out of respect for the office of president, I didn't talk this way 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago. I felt very badly about what was going on. But out of respect for the office of the president, I wouldn't have said the way I talk. He's a crooked person. He's a totally dishonest guy. So we'd say things, but I even changed his name. I took it away from Hillary. We call him Crooked Joe. Instead of Sleepy Joe, we call him Crooked Joe. I retired it. That was a great day for Hillary. Instead of Crooked Hillary, I said, we're removing the name from Crooked Hillary. Now we call her Beautiful, Beautiful Hillary. She's a beautiful woman.
Now, you know what? See, now everyone can understand President Trump right then. I guess he was lying. I'm telling you, 100 years from now, when people go back and they listen to President Trump on a lot of these speeches, they're going to say, man, your president was a comedian. The president during that time was a comedian. I mean, because he's saying Hillary Rodham Clinton is beautiful. We know what he means. So I guess in that case, he's lying, right? I guess in that case.
Retired it. That was a great day for Hillary. Instead of Crooked Hillary, I said, we're removing the name from Crooked Hillary. Now we call her Beautiful, Beautiful Hillary. She's a beautiful woman. And we're giving it to Biden because he's a crooked person. But out of respect for the office, I would never have said that to this extent. And I never did. But now they indicted your president, your former president, who is very popular, 75 million people. They indicted him. So now they ripped off the top. They took the gloves off, and we can say whatever we want. And I'll tell you what, what he's done is a scandal the likes of which this country has never seen, and the fake news hates to talk about it.
Yep, they hate to talk about it. What he's done has never happened in the United States of America ever. I mean, ever. This has never, ever happened in the history of this country. And again, you and I, we're seeing this happen. And like, what is the outcome going to be? What's going to happen? And let me say this too. The left, they don't play by the same rules as the good guys. They don't. You understand that? The left, they do not play by the same rules as the good guys. The good guys play a different rule, right? They want to, be nice. They want to have everyone just understand that the position of a country and position of everything and just do the right thing. The left, they don't play by the same rules. They'll do whatever. And I mean whatever. If you can think about it, the left is more than likely doing it or willing to do it. If you can think the most sinister thing you can think of, they're either already in the process of doing it or they've already done it. You understand that? This is why the left are so evil and demonic. Everything about them. On this planet, we have good and evil, and the entire left represents evil. There's not a single thing on the left that is considered good. Name something. Name something. Now, I'm not saying everybody on the right is...
I thought they said Hillary. Just kidding, I'm just joking.
I'm not saying that everyone on the right are nothing but angels, because we're all humans. We have faults. But when you talk about supporting everything that's evil and demonic, that is the left. I used to ask this question all the time, and I'm going to move on here. I used to ask this question all the time. When, let's say the Antichrist went before the DNC, and that is the Democrat National Convention. And let's say the Antichrist went there and did a speech. What do you think? And talked about all the policies that and the changes that he want for the world. What do you think they would say? Oh, this is great. This is wonderful. They would stand up, standing applause. Oh my goodness. Yes, yes, yes. We want to implement everything the Antichrist is saying. That is the left. Is there anything that they would disagree with from the Antichrist? Absolutely not. Name something. Name something that the Antichrist would want to push that they would disagree with. Seriously, it's not even a joke about it, right? Think about it. And we're like, wow, some people go, wow, I never thought about it like that. But they would embrace everything of the Antichrist, because you're talking about pure evilness. They would embrace everything. And I'm right. I'm right. Let me share this with you. Joe Biden constantly said that there was no time that he talked to Hunter Biden's criminal cohorts or criminal, what am I looking for? Criminal, business partners. I'm not talking about Devin Archer. I'm talking about the ones that he was doing business with. But Joe Biden said that he never talked to any of them, never had any meetings with them, never sat down with them. But come to find out, bring it over. Come to find out, Joe Biden had 36 different meetings with Hunter Biden's criminal clients. The people that Hunter Biden was doing criminal activity with 36 times. Do you think that they showed up to the White House and talked about the weather 36 times with Joe Biden when he was VP? Anybody?
Notably, he is not going to do anything on the border. But what is overshadowing his trip are these new details on his son's overseas consultings and how it really blurred the line between politics and profit.
So we are now learning one of Hunter's former business partners visited the White House at least 36 times during the Obama years, which is more than previously thought. Meanwhile, Fox has obtained this letter from then Vice President Biden to another of Hunter's colleagues. It further contradicts the argument that Biden was completely removed from his son's work.
All this fueling calls for an impeachment inquiry. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says the country needs answers.
I think there's enough proof out there that this Biden family needs to come forward and show there wasn't a pay to play. America deserves more, and Americans want to know. And the one thing I will tell you is, as this Congress, the People's Congress, we will follow the facts and provide it to the American public, just like the Constitution tells us to do.
Kicking us.
You see that? Just like the Constitution. And, a lot of people are getting frustrated. I'm frustrated because they haven't done enough, in my opinion. And it's like they're just gathering all of this data. So when they present all of the data, because I'm telling you right now, there's information that they have not presented to the public as of yet. And I don't even know what this information is. I'm telling you, this is what's happening. Hear me now, believe me later on. They're holding on because once they're going to present this information, and when they can, and when they do, it's going to, I believe that it's going to cause them to say, okay, just put him in jail. Talking about Trump. Because, see, they're going to find the information on the Biden crime family, All this other information is going to come out. And the left, they're going to say, okay, my goodness, just put Trump in jail. Just put him in jail. I don't care. I don't care. Do whatever you can. Silence him. Stop him. Stop him. Because they're going after Joe Biden. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting this week. It's going to be really interesting this week when they release this other information about, this is the SARS reports, right, Shannon? The more SARS reports?
Well, yeah, he said banking along with some suspicious activity. So, yeah, I guess so.
You guess so. Yeah, it really looks like that.
I don't know until he shows it, but
yeah. Leave it there. Leave it on that shot real quick. Let me. I just want to. This is kind of a weird question. I never asked anybody this question. Y'all see the flag on the wall there? Y'all see that flag on the wall? I put a light up there. I don't know if I'm gonna put a second one up there, but I put a light up there so the light would be shining on the flag there on the wall, and just a little more accent. I'm kind of geeking out right now because I thought it would look pretty cool. I thought it looked pretty cool. And I'm just kind of curious, what do y'all think? Y'all think a nice addition, putting a light on the American flag there, hanging on my wall? Is it like a little nice addition? I'm just kind of curious, right? Not big talk or anything. Okay.
It's not big talk?
No, it's not big talk. Not big talk. Okay. We are here at the end. I want to thank everybody for joining in. Thank you so much for sharing this video. Thank you for
you want to do Facebook stars real quick?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So we have Facebook stars. We have some people to thank. We have Kalea, Where's Mike, Jill, Dell, Anne, Shelly, Julie, Larry,
wow,
Denny, Anne. We've got some names we haven't seen in here before. Thank you very much. We got Josie, Michaels, and Rodney. So thank you, everybody, for your support there.
Wow. Thank you so much for the blessings. Thank you so much for the blessings. You can also bless us
at uniteamericafirst.com/donate. We also got a YouTube.
Rumble Rant? Or Rumble Rant, listen to me.
Lou. Thank
super
you very
chat.
Much, Lou.
It's a super chat.
He said free speech for all. I totally agree. So thank you, everybody.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. Lori, thank you so much as well. And I want to say thank you to Jonathan and Vern for the Cash App. Thank you so much. And Middleton, thank you so much for that Cash App. Thank you so much for that blessing. All right. I do have some more, but I can't share this other ones with y'all. Because if I share these other ones with y'all, let me see. Yeah, I can't. Because if I share some of this other stuff with you, it is what it is. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for being with me. My name is Will Johnson, and we just talked about it.